After each dose of medication, the prisoner would secretly spit it out when the guard wasn't looking. Then, after confirming no one was around, he'd retrieve the antibiotics. Next, he'd tie the bottle with stolen fishing line, the other end secured to his teeth. Once everything was ready, the prisoner immediately placed the bottle in his mouth and swallowed it without hesitation. Afterward, he dismantled the lighter, keeping only the flint he'd need later. He tucked it under his fingernail for concealment. After completing these steps, he bound his wrist with shoelaces and placed his finger on the edge of the table, simultaneously exerting force with his right foot and wrist. His finger instantly twisted and dislocated. Though the pain was excruciating, the prisoner clenched his teeth, daring not to utter a sound. He knew this was his only chance to escape. The prisoner had killed 2 people. He was a hardened criminal serving a life sentence. Just when he thought he'd spend the rest of his days behind bars, a turning point arrived. Police Captain John's son was diagnosed with leukemia. Fortunately, the prisoner's bone marrow was a perfect match. John appealed to the prisoner, hoping he would donate his marrow. To John's surprise, the prisoner agreed without hesitation. He had one condition: permission to smoke inside the prison and unrestricted access to the library. John, surprised by the simplicity of the request, agreed on the spot, unaware he had fallen into the prisoner's trap. Smoking was not the prisoner's true goal. What he really needed was the flint inside. Going to the library to read was merely a cover for stealing detailed blueprints at the hospital. Once everything was prepared, the prisoner arrived at the hospital where John's son lay, escorted by countless guards. But with his hands shackled, he couldn't extract the marrow from behind. While everyone debated a solution, the prisoner had already bitten through the bottle cap and swallowed the antibiotic vial. Soon after, at the doctor's insistence, the prisoner's handcuffs were removed and he was restrained to the bed. Anesthetic was immediately administered. But soon the doctor noticed something was wrong. All vital signs indicated the prisoner hadn't entered anesthesia at all. Just as they prepared to administer more anesthetic, the prisoner began his own move. He opened his eyes and leaped directly off the hospital bed. Then, taking advantage of the chaos in the room, he swiftly evacuated the operating room. He grabbed a defibrillator from the laundry area and jumped into the laundry chute. He escaped down to the first floor this way, successfully making it outside. However, just as he left, John emerged from the sewer. During the chase, they reached a bridge, but John remained unflustered as the entire bridge had begun rising under his command. The prisoner had nowhere left to flee. Soon, police arrived at the scene in a helicopter, demanding the prisoner surrender immediately. The prisoner suddenly turned his gun around and fired several shots at the police. John rushed forward using his own body to shield the bullets. Because the prisoner was shot dead, the bone marrow inside his body would immediately become useless, making it impossible to treat his son suffering from leukemia. After taking out the helicopter, the prisoner shoved John aside and prepared to jump into the river to escape. The wounded John followed him off the bridge. Fortunately, John eventually found the prisoner and successfully pulled him back to the river's surface. In the story's conclusion, deeply moved by everything John had done, the prisoner voluntarily donated his bone marrow, successfully saving a precious life.